In this overlanding video, you'll see a younger guy who thinks he's cooler than the fawns. And you'll see an older guy running in the forest. And you'll see a middle-aged guy who forgot where he parked. Our trip got started just outside of Mojave, California, a few miles up the road. We hung a left into the desert and started climbing up these mountains, taking us kind of a long way into the Jawbone Canyon area and up into the Sequoia National Forest. You know, these roads are hard cut straight out of the side of the hills, and as you'll see here, we're actually passing right under the LA aqueduct system that crosses through Jawbone Canyon itself. It's a pretty interesting engineering system that they have out there, follows the contour of the land. and just makes for a fun ride through the area. You know, we snaked our way down through all of this completely accessible area. You know, no real need here for outright four-wheel drive, but we very much enjoyed airing down because there's lots of washboard on these road surfaces, and it makes it just for a heck of a lot more comfort. Now, where we're heading right now is almost straight ahead at 12 o'clock. You can see a bit of a green patch in a mountain there. That's our next destination to start. And as we reach that area, we're going to split up our group. Normally we don't do this, but this trip we decided might be the better choice for us. One of our guys is running an older Toyota Land Cruiser, and in the desert, you always want to be paying attention to cooling and heat management and what that's like. Less so of an issue on newer vehicles, more so of an issue possibly on older vehicles. So in this case, we decided to split the group up a little bit, and Raul and Yaniv were going to take the quote easy route all the way up around and meet us at our camp, an area called Landers. And the big reason for that, as you're going to see here in just a moment, is this very long, very steep hill. As we were deciding to take our route into the Landers camp area, we opted to go a direction that we typically hadn't gone before. It was a little more difficult, definitely longer, and this hill is the predominant reason for it. This hill is quite long. It'll take probably the better part of, I don't know, almost 5 minutes to drive up to the top of this hill from the bottom. You'll hit angles of up to 30 degrees of incline crawling up here, so recommend four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or at the very least a locked rear axle to help with traction. It's just slow going. Get up there and you're literally on top of all the surrounding hills again. So you've come from the bottom right up to the top again. Great views, but obviously it can be a challenge for vehicles and their cooling systems and you know, maintaining that airflow basically. So in our case, we opted to split up the group, and you're going to see more about that shortly. because I'm sure you've seen quite a bit of Joshua trees in this area, inhabiting this area. It's a high desert area. Absolutely beautiful if you like this kind of thing. And it transitions into another shelf road looking down deep into a canyon. And this is predominantly the terrain that you're going to encounter on this drive that we took up to Landers Field. It's just fantastic area. We were very fortunate to have some cloud cover. Earlier in the day when we had started out, we were seeing temperatures 106, 108 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Fairly typical for, mid-August in the desert. And by the time we come over to this side, at this point, we're up at around 3,000, maybe 4,000 feet in elevation, in and out of these little canyons. But that cloud cover made a big difference, dropping our temperatures down into the low to mid 90s, making it, dare I say, a lot more comfortable for us running through this area. But absolutely magical in here in these forests of Joshua trees. They're all over the area in the Mojave Desert, and just cannot get enough of going out and exploring these areas. So at this point, we are firmly in the Sequoia National Forest, elevation probably 600 to 6,500 feet. Beautiful area, great, shade if you want to stop and take a break in a lot of different areas, big open fields, beautiful views, just a fantastic run through the National Forest here. And in just a minute here, you're going to see what happened to Yaniv and Raul when they split off. They were taking the simpler road up to camp, and they found just a small bit of adventure on their way. Everybody was okay. There was no damage. It was pretty straightforward, but I'm really grateful that Yaniv threw the camera down and managed to capture this one. So still a little unclear how the Land Cruiser ended up, up to its axles here on the side of the road. But the guys did all the right things. They took care of it, and, in just a few minutes, they were back on the road again. as we were approaching Landers Camp here, we were a little surprised. We were talking with the guys on the radio. We had figured they would already be at camp quite a bit in advance of us, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even more. And we were a little surprised to find out that they got there just 2 or 3 minutes ahead of us to ultimately claim our favorite location at Landers Camp. It's a great area. It's about 7,000 feet in elevation. Beautiful little spot here in the center that we were fortunate to grab. And we figured, all right, we were there early. It's a great time to maybe set up camp. The Pacific Crest Trail is approximately 10 minutes walk up the road from where we're located. So maybe we'd do some exploring. Maybe we'd just hang out, or maybe we would get a start on a late lunch. And that's exactly where we went, straight into the Snake Rivers Farms. These are the Wagyu beef Frankfurters from them. Not sponsored, just picked up a batch, cooked them up on the Scottle. Just a fantastic afternoon snack. And ultimately, because, we're out camping, we're having a good time, we're roughing it as it were, but we are not savages. We had to have charcuterie plates, naturally. Some great cheeses, some salamis, some prosciutto. And one of the guys brought his pet murder hornet. That was a bit uncomfortable, but we all figured it out. It was just a great time hanging out around camp with everybody. We got the campfire going later in the evening, obviously in accordance with all of the applicable laws of the time. And then we settled in for a little bit of astrophotography and hopefully was going to be a good night's rest. So after what was a wonderful breakfast, as you saw, we decided we were going to go hit an area called Brown Meadow. We drove by there, a beautiful area, great opportunities for some camping. One side of Brown Meadow actually has a toilet. The other side does not. We checked both of them out, hung out, but thought, we want to drive for a little more today. And so we took off and ended up finding another spot that Kevin had seen. And here he is in his glory, relishing our praise for finding a great camp spot. And we just then hung out for the afternoon. Folks sat around and chatted. We took some photos of the valley that's over behind us. I grabbed my macro photography gear, went a bit crazy with everything in the local area, from the tree bark to the lichen on the rocks. Just really enjoyed scouting out the area. And probably around 5:30, maybe 6 p.m., temperatures had dropped down. It was in the mid-70s, and we decided to go for a hike. We actually went farther up the road, down into a valley, and came across the Pacific Crest Trail again, and then decided we'd come on back up and got back to camp just in time for the sunset and to capture a little bit of that. It was absolutely beautiful, just a fantastic, super quiet area. The night before at 4:30 in the morning, somebody had decided at the other campground to turn on a generator. That was slightly annoying. This night, none of that. It was just silence. Absolutely a perfect night out camping. folks often wonder why we head out into the desert. It's, hot or cold depending on the time of year. It's not particularly comfortable, but we do the best we can. A lot of times it's just to hang out with friends, to meet new people, build relationships, enjoy shared experiences, and just be a part of nature. Other times, there's a little more to it, like plotting revenge for the person who put the smartass sticker on the back of your Jeep. Don't worry, we know who it was, and payback is coming.